Hey everybody!
Hey everyone!
Welcome to Northshore Online. I'm so excited to be spending some time with you today. My name is Stephen Bolt.
I'm Samantha Harmon, and again, welcome. We're so glad that you're here.
Yeah.
It's good to see you again too, Stephen.
Yeah, here at Northshore, we believe that Jesus can change everything for anyone. So right now, there's people in like 1,000 living rooms all over the country, all around the world doing church together. Yeah. And no matter what you're going through, no matter the circumstance, know that God has you here for a reason, and we're excited just that God will speak to us and give something fresh to us for whatever we're going through today.
Absolutely. And be sure to let us know in the comments where you're watching from, because we love to see where in the world you are. And be sure to share the stream as well and invite everyone you know to church with you this morning. So something really cool that's happening this week, Stephen. It actually is tomorrow, Monday. You may not know this, but it's World Teachers Day.
You may, oh no, I knew. Of course I don't know that.
I'm here to tell you. It's World Teachers Day tomorrow. And I was just thinking, I know a lot of teachers in my life. Several of my friends, family members are teachers.
Who is your favorite teacher that you've had?
Okay, I've been asked this question actually several times.
Today?
It's not, well, no, not today, in my life. And okay, so some of you who know me may know that I was homeschooled from like 3rd grade through the end of high school. And so I didn't have too many different teachers. But I was in public school 1st and 2nd grade. My 1st grade teacher, shout out to Ms. Roth. She was probably one of the best teachers that I've ever had. She was so kind and like creative, and just like I was so excited to go to school every day because I was just like, what is she gonna come up with next, you know?
Yep, totally.
Yeah, she's probably one of my favorite. What about you?
I don't have as good a memory as you, so teachers' names and me. Well, I feel like the story that comes to mind was in 7th grade, we had a science teacher who we were going through this experiment where you like use this little cattle prod thing to shoot off a rocket full of water and like, woohoo. But me, and not me, a couple of my friends decided that it would be funny to take that cattle prod and touch it to one of the chairs that had little metal buttons on the bottom of it.
No.
Oh yeah, one of my buddies was wearing shorts, and the metal buttons literally burned like his skin on where they are on the chair. That just gave me an appreciation for teachers and what y'all go through and the decisions, and like, it's not just these orderly kids who come and sit in the classroom and
who are quiet
just
and
perfect angels. No, but I just like looking back, I have so much respect for the teachers that I had all through elementary school, junior high, high school. My parents, like, so many influences for teachers.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. Well, I think especially in this season too, like it's appropriate, I think, that World Teachers Day is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we just want to say, like, all of you teachers out there, you're amazing, you're killing it. But also like parents and students too, like everything that everyone is going through this year with just the season that we're in. Just big props to all of you.
I feel like the word teacher, so many people fill that role right now.
Absolutely.
So thank you, teachers, everyone who's a part of that this year.
For sure. And I found a little video that I wanted to show you that I thought might be funny, and it's kind of what teachers say during virtual classes. So let's check this out.
These are kind of blended together here. Yes, I do see you have your pajamas on today. Cool. Oh, you have pajamas on too. Yeah, they're SpongeBob. Ooh, yeah, rainbow unicorn pajamas. Wow, everyone's yelling what their pajamas are. Okay, awesome. All right, I have a huge announcement. I'm so excited to share. Oh, you can't? Okay, well, my headphones are plugged in. You can't hear me, so hello? 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 Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? All right, so everybody sees this right here. What we're gonna do is, oh, it's backwards? Okay, so let's try it like this. Is that better? So that assignment is gonna be on Google. Your mom has a question? No. You don't need to take me to your mom. It's no. We're in the, okay. Hi, Mrs. Clark. Yeah. Do you think that we could talk later? Guys, we're not taking our time to talk about Minecraft right now. No, I do not play Minecraft. So no, on the Minecraft, let's talk about it later. Let's focus. No to Pokemon too. We're not talking about Pokemon right now.
So good.
Awesome.
I feel like that's some of my Zoom meetings right now too.
Oh, yeah.
So good. Thank you for showing me that, Sam.
You're welcome. I hope you guys enjoyed that.
Yeah.
But we also wanted to let you guys know that we have an amazing team, our NKids team, that is here for your kids. And every single Sunday at the 9:30 service, we have NKids Live, which your students are going to be able to learn a Bible story, play games, and interact with leaders and other kids. And I think last week we talked obviously a lot about life groups and how important it is to be connected into community right now, and that's the same for the kids. So we're really excited to be able to offer that, and the link will be in the comments. All the information that you need will be right there.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity too, no matter what age your kids are in. Maybe they're students. You also can find information on the website, northshore.church, to find out what students have going on. And even online is awesome, but they are doing stuff in person, meeting up different times throughout the month, just to do stuff in person in community. Yeah. We don't want your students, your kids to miss out on that. So make sure to head over to northshore.church/connect, and you'll find stuff there for students and kids, and get involved.
Yeah. And if you're just joining us today, we want to say welcome. I'm Samantha, this is Steven, and a special welcome to those of you who might be new. Maybe this is your first Sunday, you just happened to find this stream. Welcome to you, and if you're new, if this is your first time, please text us Northshore to 97,000. We'd love to connect with you and help you find your next step here at Northshore. But today we have an awesome opportunity here on our campus happening yet again, which we're really excited about.
Yeah, I'm so excited. We did this last month and it was so good to see you guys show up, take communion together. And we were like, we just have to do that again.
Yeah,
like, there's no way we can't do that again. So coming up today from 1 to 3 right here in our parking lot, drive-in communion is happening again. So feel free to load up the car, bring the family, come to our campus here in Kirkland and take some communion with us in person. We'll have some prayer teams here as well to pray over you if you have anything that you need prayer for. And if you're not around our Kirkland campus, we'll have a video up on the website where you can go and take communion at your convenience. We encourage you, not only is it good to just take communion in community, but also it's just such a great reminder of why we do what we do. So it's good to pause and enjoy that together.
Yeah, and with that video too, it's no matter where you are in the world, we can all do this together. Yeah, so which is so cool. But hey, before we hop into our service today, we wanted to take a quick look back, as always, to last week and the message that Scotty brought us. So take a look at this.
It's okay to miss going to church, but the church, it's not this building or this service, it's you. Wherever you're gathered in your life group on Monday night or Friday morning or Sunday afternoon, it's you. When you're getting to know each other, it's you. When you're confessing a struggle or asking a question, it's you. When you're serving each other or praying for each other or singing with each other or walking through pain with each other, it's you. And by the way, that's church the way Jesus did it. And that's church the way the first followers of Jesus did it for hundreds of years before there were buildings or budgets or cameras or colored lights. They met in homes, they shared meals, they prayed for each other, they walked through life with each other, they did life with each other. And the presence of Jesus, get this, was always with them, which is why if we want to get through COVID, if we want to not just survive this season as a church, but experience the presence of Jesus and the power of God and the fruit of the Spirit and the fullness of joy, it will not be based on the use of our building. It will be based on the health of our groups.
That was such a good message last week, and when we met in our life group just this past week and got to chat about that message a little bit, it was so helpful just to be able to process that with my group. And it wasn't an easy conversation for us to talk about. I think just the church building, us not being able to come here, has been hard for a lot of reasons, but being able to process all of the emotions and feelings and things going on as a life group was so helpful for us.
I know my husband Brian and I, we love our life group. We're so thankful for that community. So if you haven't had a chance yet to get connected into a life group, just head over to our website, northshore.church/connect, or send us a message. We would love to help find a group for you. But we're gonna hop into worship together. Again, thank you so much for being here. We're so excited you're here. Welcome to Northshore Online.
lift our hands, you lift our eyes up. Where your love is found, there will be no fear. God, your kingdom come, your will be done here. On earth as in heaven, Spirit of God, pour out. Our hearts are wide open. Jesus, we need you now. Come, have your way in this place, break our walls down. Spirit of God, pour out. On earth as in heaven, Jesus, we need you now. You bring our shame, you bring redemption. You turn our chains into our freedom. Where your love is found, there will be no fear. God, your kingdom come, your will be done here. On earth as in heaven, Spirit of God, pour out. Our hearts are wide open. Jesus, we need you now. Come, have your way in this place, break our walls down. Spirit of God, pour out. On earth as in heaven, Jesus, we need you now. In your presence there is peace. In your presence we are free. There's no better place to be. There's no better place to be. In your presence there is truth. In your presence mountains move. We forever run to you. We forever run to you. In your presence there is peace. In your presence we are free. There's no better place to be. There's no better place to be. In your presence there is truth. In your presence mountains move. We forever run to you. We forever run to you. On earth as in heaven, Spirit of God, pour out. Our hearts are wide open. Jesus, we need you now. Come, have your way in this place, break our walls down. Spirit of God, pour out. On earth as in heaven, Jesus, we need you now. Oh. Well, thank y'all so much for joining us today. My name's Mitch, and I'm on staff here. And today we have the amazing opportunity to take communion. And last month we did that in a different fashion. We had a drive-up communion, and we're going to be doing that same thing today here on our Kirkland campus from 1 to 3. So please stop by and receive that with us today. And if you're joining us and you're not near the Kirkland campus, we would also like you to participate, and we have some steps that can help you do that on our website at northshore.church, so please visit that. And if you don't know what communion is, this is just an experience where we can remember what God has done in our life. Remember the sacrifice that he made for our sins. And I think that word remembrance has been one that God's been kind of teaching me more about. The past few weeks, I went home to South Carolina to visit with some family, as we had a few deaths in the family, and we were at the funerals, and funerals are always sad and a lot of tears, but after the services, we were all hanging out and talking, eating some food, and just remembering what they meant to us, remembering the impact they had in our lives, and remembering the joy that they brought to us. And I feel like the tears turned into laughter, and a little bit of that weight, that pressure was lifted. It felt like we could breathe. And I feel like a lot of times it's hard to see that in our lives. It's easy to see the darkness and all the bad things that are constantly happening around us, but God calls us to remember the good. And this song kind of echoes that. Remembering how God is faithful, remembering how God keeps his promises. So we just invite you today to sing along with us. And if you want to, we would also invite you to take this time, listen to the words, but meditate and remember the good that God has done in your life.
Father of kindness, you have poured out grace. You brought me out of darkness, you have filled me with peace. Giver of mercy, you're my help in time of need. Lord, I can't help but sing. Faithful you are, faithful forever you will be. Faithful you are, all your promises are yes and amen. All your promises are yes and amen. Beautiful Savior, you have brought me near. You pull me from the ashes, you have broken every curse. Blessed Redeemer, you have set this captive free. Lord, I can't help but sing. Faithful you are, faithful forever it's your faithfulness, and I will rest in your promises, my confidence. Oh, you are faithful, and I will rest in your promises, my confidence is your faithfulness, and I will rest in your promises, my confidence. You are faithful, faithful. You are faithful, forever you will be. Faithful, you are. All your promises are yes and amen. Faithful, you are. Faithful, forever you will be. Faithful, you are. And all your promises are yes and amen. All your promises are yes and amen. And all your promises are yes and amen.
Hey everyone, welcome again to Northshore Online. Maybe you just jumped in during worship. We are so excited to be spending some time with you today. My name is Stephen Bolt.
Yeah, and I'm Samantha Harmon. And for those of you who call North Shore home, maybe you were a part of our family meeting that actually happened last Sunday. And our fiscal year just came to an end, and we got to look back over this past year and see all that God has done through people's lives, baptisms, and kids, students, life groups, and our whole Together For campaign. It's been so encouraging to see all of it.
I was just talking with someone about my favorite part of being a part of this North Shore community. And one of the things that came to my mind was just being a part of each one of those life-changing stories. All the baptisms that happened right out here in our parking lot and online, all of the students who have been reached for Jesus this year, all of the people who have been affected and influenced by the Together For giving that came in that we were able to give out. I think about that story that we told a few weeks ago. Just where these people that are needing help right now, and we're able to be the hands and feet of Jesus and give them the help they need to pay their rent and put food on the table and these basic needs. That's all because of the generosity of this church and the people that God is bringing to us. So thank you guys, for those of you that give, for being a part of that. And if you haven't taken that step of giving yet, I wanted to encourage you that today is the day to do that. I can promise you that you will look back years from now to this date and see God's faithfulness playing out from that point right now that you made the decision to partner with Northshore and be a part of what God's doing through this church. It's an incredible opportunity, and I don't want you to miss out, so I'd encourage you to take that step today.
Yeah, and I know we can't wait to see what God's going to do this next year. Like thinking back on last year, how incredible all of that was, and now thinking what's going to happen this next year. I'm so excited. So if you'd like to give, go to northshore.church/give, or check out the link in the comments that our hosts are posting for you. But we are really excited to hop into our message today. Scotty's bringing us another great one in our series. Now is the time, so let's go.
Hey everybody, welcome to Northshore. I'm so glad you're joining us today. We're in a series called Now is the Time, and if this is your first time with us, I'm really glad you're here because I think today's message will give you a clear picture, not just of what we want to be doing as a church, but what Jesus wants every church to be doing. So I thought we could start with a little thought experiment. So here's the question. What comes to mind for you when you hear the word church? Any thoughts, ideas, maybe some memories? Maybe for some of you, church brought to mind a building like this with a steeple out front and a cross. Or maybe for you, church looks more like a building like this, like a cathedral of some kind. Maybe for you, church, you think about what's on the inside. It could be a room with pews and stained glass windows. Or maybe if you have a Catholic background, you think of more of a traditional mass. Or maybe some of you are thinking about an environment where it looks almost like a rock concert going on inside. Or maybe you've never even been inside a church building except for a wedding or a funeral. Or maybe, like me, you've been in church almost every week of your life. I mean, I grew up going to Sunday school every week, and I learned about the Bible through this very high-tech device called the flannel graph. Anyone know what a flannel graph is? Looks something like this. And we had a flannel Jesus and a flannel Paul and a flannel apocalypse. I mean, if it was in the Bible, it was on the flannel graph. But regardless of your church experience, most people associate the word church with a place or a building, a location. But did you know that Jesus never once told anyone to go to church? Apostle Paul never once told anyone to go to church because the church isn't fundamentally a place that you go to, it's a team that you go with. It's a community defined not by a gathering, but by a shared purpose, a mission, a goal. And today, we're talking about what that goal really is. And then I'm going to give you a chance to be part of the team. But first, I want to take you back to the very first time that Jesus spoke about the church. The story takes place in the account of Jesus' life written by a man named Matthew. And here's what Matthew writes. He says, when Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do people say the Son of Man is?" Now, before we get to Jesus' question, we need to be clear about where they are because we can't fully understand what Jesus is saying until we understand where Jesus is saying it. Jesus and his disciples are in this place called Caesarea Philippi, which is about 25 miles north of the Sea of Galilee on the northern border of Israel. Today, if you've been to this area, you know it looks something like this. It's at the base of a part of a rocky cliff that's part of Mount Hermon, and there's an ancient spring, this kind of lush spring that flows out of an underground cave and provides water to the entire valley. But in ancient times, this region was known not just for the fertile landscape, but for its pagan idolatry. In fact, in the Old Testament days, people of this region worshiped the god Baal, who was an ancient Canaanite god of fertility. They believed that Baal would bring water and fertility from the underworld to the land if they appeased him with immoral and even violent rituals. The spring actually became known as the gates of Hades, which also could be called the gates of hell or the underworld. Just keep that in mind. We'll come back to that. Now, when this region became a Greek settlement, it became a place for the worship of God called Pan. It was kind of a nasty-looking creature that was half goat and half Greek god. Imagine that. Now, Pan was thought to inspire confusion and chaos in people. In fact, the word panic comes from the god Pan. Not only that, all the demonic spirits who caused disorder and destruction were believed to come from Pan, which is where we get the word pandemonium. And by Jesus' day, the Romans had built a great city called Caesarea Philippi right in that same place. And they built a temple right at the base of the rock, right over the spring to promote the worship of Caesar. And across the face of the rock, there were all these statues of Roman gods. In fact, you can still see the niches and inscriptions from those statues today. This led some people to call this rock the Rock of the Gods, which held the gates of hell. So if you're one of the disciples, you're probably thinking, what in the gates of hell are we doing in Caesarea Philippi, a region that was known for its idolatry and its immorality? In fact, Jews in that day didn't live in Caesarea Philippi. They wouldn't even visit Caesarea Philippi. So why did Jesus go there? Because he wanted to introduce his disciples to this brand new, kind of crazy idea called the church. Before he does that, Jesus has a question. He asks his disciples, who do people say the Son of Man is? In other words, who do people say that I am? And they replied, some say John the Baptist, others say Elijah, and still others, Jeremiah or one of the prophets. In other words, the world doesn't know who you are. At best, they see you as one of the great prophets of the past. And so Jesus laughed and said, how dare they think such inaccurate things about me? Can you even believe these people? I mean, look around. Look at how they live. They should know better. Actually, that's not what he said. Maybe that's what the disciples were thinking. Maybe they were waiting to hear Jesus speak a word of condemnation or accusation against people that certainly probably deserved it. But Jesus didn't ask the question to condemn anyone's lack of belief. He asked it to test his disciples' belief. So look at what Jesus did next. He asked them, but what about you? Who do you, disciples, say that I am? Now, for those of you who've been around church, you can probably guess who was the first to answer. Simon Peter answered, you are the Messiah, the Son of the living God. And Jesus replied, blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for this was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven. In other words, don't get too high on yourself, Peter, because here's the deal. No one is good enough or sincere enough or religious enough or moral enough to make this confession, because whatever we know about God, whatever we believe about Jesus, that's a gift. That's grace. That's a sign that God is at work in you. So don't let knowing the right answer tempt you to believe that you're somehow morally or spiritually superior to those who don't yet know the answer. But then we come to the heart of the story when Jesus finally reveals why he brought them all the way up here. Jesus says, I tell you that you are Peter, and on this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not overcome it. Does this language sound familiar to anyone else? Now, by the way, more has been written about this one verse than any other verse in the Bible, and it's all about what or who this rock that the church will be built upon is. In the Catholic tradition, this rock is believed to be a reference to Peter himself. In Protestant churches, this rock is thought to be maybe the faith of Peter. But think about it. Once you know where Jesus is, once you can imagine yourself standing before the rock of the gods that hold the gate of Hades, it becomes clear that Jesus isn't talking about building his church on a particular person. He's talking about building his church in a particular kind of place. Here, in the last place you'd think you'd find a church, that's where Jesus wants to start the church. And you can imagine the disciples saying, but Jesus, this is a terrible place to start a church. People here, they don't care about you. They worship other gods. They practice morally offensive lifestyles. And it's been that way for centuries. So here's the thing. We're not going to be able to get these people to go to church. They're not going to like our songs. They're not going to listen to our sermons. They're not going to follow our rules. So maybe we should head back down to Capernaum where there's people who are like us. Or Jerusalem where we have the legacy of the temple. Let's start there. I mean, that's what I would have probably said, because I'm in the church building business, and I've known from years of experience what people in places like Caesarea Philippi think about church. And it doesn't lead to strong attendance numbers. It doesn't lead to an uptick in giving. But thankfully, Jesus is not talking about the church I'm building or any pastor is building. He's talking about the church he's building. In fact, the word he uses for church here is the Greek word ekklesia. Ekklesia. In fact, whenever you see church in the New Testament, in the original language, it's this word ekklesia, which is a combination of the word ek, which means out, and a version of the verb kaleo, which means to call. So an ekklesia isn't just a community that gathers together, it's a community that's been called out or sent out for a purpose. For example, when a quarterback huddles the offense together, it's not so that they can stay in the huddle, it's so that he can send them back out to run a play. It's a football ekklesia. When Nina calls me and the kids together and says, we're out of ice cream, we don't just sit around and debate the merits of chocolate chip versus vanilla. We get in the car and go buy both because we're an ice cream ekklesia. So when Jesus says, on this rock I will build my church, my ekklesia, he's not calling us to stay in the huddle or to sit around and debate the merits of choir music versus modern music. He's saying, I'm calling you together so that you can go out and reach places like Caesarea Philippi, places where marriages are failing, and families are broken, and addiction is flourishing, places where lust is rampant and greed is rewarded and sin is celebrated. Jesus is saying, I'm calling you to go out and give your life for people who think that God is a myth and faith is a crutch and the church is a joke. Why? Because that's what Jesus did. And if you want to know where Jesus set the bar on this, if you want to know what the team goal is, just look back at what he said. On this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against them. You see, unlike what you're hearing from some churches and church leaders out there, our battle is not with a political party or a social movement. We are at war with the power of hell itself. And here's the good news, that war is over. Because, and this is why it's so crucial that we remember who Jesus is, that he's not just a great teacher or powerful prophet. He's the Son of the living God. And when the Son of the living God died on that cross and walked out of that tomb, sin lost, death lost, hell lost. And the church's job, well, it's pretty simple. We're here to partner with Jesus in putting hell out of business. And in our day, hell is prevailing wherever sin gets excused, or children get neglected, or families get broken, or justice gets ignored, or greed gets glorified. Hell is still winning wherever God is still missing. Which is exactly why Jesus took his disciples to Caesarea Philippi and said, I'm starting my church here. And if you're worried the opposition seems strong, if this all feels a bit overwhelming, remember in that day, gates were a defensive mechanism. They were the last defensive measure before the whole city would fall. And friends, hell is going to fall. Jesus secured that on the cross, and he's coming back on a throne. And between now and then, our job isn't to stay in and be huddled up together. It's to go out like he did, and serve like he did, and love like he did, and sacrifice like he did. Kind of puts a different spin on going to church, doesn't it? See, the reason we gather on Sundays and in life groups and in prayer and in study isn't so we can be smarter or stronger or morally superior, but so that we can go out and put hell out of business, one saved marriage at a time, one child off the streets at a time, one recovered addict at a time, one redeemed soul at a time. Now, does this mean Sundays don't matter or church buildings don't matter? Of course not. The offense needs to huddle up with the quarterback in order to run the right play, right? And we need time to gather and learn and worship and heal. We need time with the quarterback. And that's not me or Wolfgang or any pastor or leader. That's Jesus. And we gather together to be with him, just like his disciples gathered together to be with him. But all that said, this whole church thing, it's not about us gathering together. We are here for those who are not here because, and you've heard me say this before, Jesus never called the world to go to church. He called the church to go to the world. And if our world is going to have any hope of discovering the good news that Jesus is the Son of the living God who came to die for the sin of the world, the church is going to have to remember we are here to serve just like Jesus did. And by the way, there's no plan B. I mean, Jesus didn't say, if this whole church thing doesn't really work out, well, we'll just try something else. He said, on this rock, I'm building my church, meaning the church is the hope of Caesarea Philippi. The church is the hope of our neighbors and neighborhoods. The church is the hope of our cities and our schools. The local church is the hope of the world. In fact, look at what he told Peter. Jesus said, I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven. And whatever you bind on earth will be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth will be loosed in heaven. Jesus is saying what you do for others counts for eternity. So if you give your life to what keeps people in bondage, wealth, comfort, fantasy, anger, they'll stay in it. But if you give your life to what brings people freedom, which is Jesus, love, humility, and surrender, people will find it in this life and the next. Why? Because you have the keys. You have access to the power of God, and God's power gets unleashed when we go out and serve. So, that's what we're going to do together. We're going to go out into the world and serve it and love it and partner with Jesus in putting hell out of business. So here's my question. Each week in this series, I've asked you a question. 5 weeks, 5 questions. The question I ask you today is simply this. Where are you serving? Where are you serving? Where is your Caesarea Philippi? Where do you see the gates of hell still prevailing? It could be in the life of someone who has a need. Could be around a systemic issue like injustice or racism. Could be a simple act of love for someone who needs it. Where are you serving? And to help you answer that question, it sounds kind of crazy, we are going to give you the keys. See, there are a variety of ways to serve here in the church, and there always will be, but today we're launching a new strategy to meet more needs, bless more lives, confront more darkness than we've ever had before by giving you the keys. And here's what that means. We are launching what we're calling Together for Teams. These teams will be organized not around the needs of our building, but the needs out in our community. And you won't find just opportunities where you can serve. You can actually post opportunities to serve in your community, which means you're driving what we do. And the best part is anyone can join this from anywhere. And even if you live a long way from where I'm standing, our hope is that wherever you are, people can join you in serving your neighbors and your neighborhoods. And here's the thing, you don't have to go to our church to be able to serve. You can share these opportunities with friends. You can invite people from your work. You can serve if you're older. You can serve if you're younger. You can serve even if you're not sure if you're older or younger. To join our team, you can find all the information you need at northshore.church/together4. That's northshore.church/together4. And we'll be sending everybody on our mailing list a link to get started later today. So all you have to do is check your email and click a link. And I hope you will. Because here's the thing. The answer to all the frustration of life in a pandemic is not just finding some personal relief. It's using your keys. It's being part of the team. It's serving your community. In fact, a while back, one of our volunteers told me, when I'm not serving, it feels like something is missing. There's a hole in my sense of purpose that only serving can fill. And since we've been on this break from using our campus, I know a number of you are feeling that hole, that gap in that sense of purpose. But the answer is not just getting you back in the church building. The answer is getting the church out of the building and into our communities where Jesus has called us to go. And that doesn't mean we need to try to change the whole world at once. First disciples didn't try to change the world. They would have never believed that one day this church thing that Jesus talked about at Caesarea Philippi would transform billions of lives and reshape the course of human history. They just said, what if we try to reach Jerusalem? What if we decide to serve Judea? What if we go out and make a difference in Samaria? What if we are a church together for our neighbors and the next generation and those in need? And the good news is that's all God is calling our church to do. What if we just go out and bless Kirkland? What if we just go serve Bothell? What if we make a difference in Bellevue or Kenmore or North Seattle? What if we go out and put the gates of hell out of business where you live and where you work and where you learn? Because maybe, just maybe, that's part of why God is taking us through this season. Maybe some of those images and pictures and assumptions we all have about the church need a little refreshing. Maybe all the panic and pandemonium we're seeing in our world isn't happening because the gates of hell are winning. Maybe it's because Jesus has decided to take us out of our comfort zone and lead us to places like Caesarea Philippi to remind us now is the time and we are His church. And the place you can go out and serve and give and lead and love, it's right in front of you. The question is, will you say yes? The question is, will we go and serve? For now, let me pray. Jesus, I am so grateful on that day you took your disciples to that place that was filled with darkness and difficulty and said, I'm putting a stake in the ground and this is where the church needs to be. And so help us go today from the comfort zone that we often huddle in, and whatever that looks like, to follow you into the places where you've called us to go and love and serve and give. Jesus, help us be your hands and feet to our neighbors, the next generation, and those in need, just like you did, so that we can be part of you changing this world and redeeming this world and putting hell out of business. Help us do that, and we're so excited, Jesus, to partner with you in doing that this week and beyond. And everybody who agreed with this prayer said, amen.
Through every battle, through every heartbreak, through every circumstance, I believe that you are my fortress, you are my portion, you are my hiding place. I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe through every blessing, through every promise, through every breath I take. I believe that you are providing, you are protecting, you are the one I love. I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe you are the way, the truth, the light. I believe you are. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. And you meet me here today with mercies that I knew of. All my fears and doubts, they can all come true, because they can't stay long when I'm here with you. It's a new horizon, and I'm set on you. And you meet me here today with mercies that I knew of. All my fears and doubts,
What an awesome service. We have loved spending the morning with you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
I could not be more excited about these Together for teams. No matter where you're watching from, you can call Northshore home. Just head to northshore.church/together4. Get signed up for one of these teams. There's already a bunch of different areas that we can be serving in together as a church.
Yeah.
And again, no matter where you're located, be posting ideas on there. I've actually got one that I threw up there for a neighbor in my area that was asking for some help. That it's just going to be cool to see as a church as we rally together and serve our community all over what that looks like.
Yep. And we are so excited to see so many of you here on our campus today for drive-through communion, 1 to 3 p.m. Go ahead and come on by and celebrate communion with us. And as Stephen said, go and get signed up for that Together for Teams. And we'll see you guys again very, very soon.
Yeah, thanks guys.